Welcome to Stalcraft, a dynamic MMO first-person shooter with survival horror elements set in the open world of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And after having played over 500 hours in the global version of this game, I'm here to tell you everything you have to know regarding this game, so let's get to it. Stalcraft truly took me by surprise. I had no previous knowledge of what this game was, nor had I played any of the games that often get brought up in conversation when talking about Stalcraft. Games like Minecraft, Roadblocks, Rust, Fallout, DayZ, Stalker, Tarkov. I had never really played any of these games. While I did have knowledge on some of them, I wasn't truly knowledgeable on any of them. So hearing that this game had a little bit of a sprinkle of all these titles in it made me quite interested. But I gotta say, Stalcraft really has its own essence. The more you get to play this game, the more you get to fall in love with its unique atmosphere. From the simple fact that all the voice lines in the game are in Russian, it already sets you up in a unique world that feels completely different to anything I have personally played. And let me tell you, this world is insane. From the moment you set foot onto the game, you're trying to survive. Whether you're having to fight NPCs, other players, monsters, anomalies, there are so many things in this world that are out to get you. It truly feels like an MMORPG that utilizes survival elements to its full potential. This game features an insane crafting system and progression system that truly makes you feel like you're doing something every time you get on. There is so much to do in Stalcraft, whether it's crafting armors, crafting weapons, crafting gadgets that allow you to find things or explore a lot easier, night vision, metal detectors. There are so many things in this game to do and to craft. It's truly amazing. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, how does the gameplay feel like? Think of something like, once again, Minecraft combined and had a baby with Stalker. And for those of you that might not know what Stalker is, because at least for me, I had no idea what Stalker is, let's bring it back a little bit and combine it with Fallout. This truly feels like a post-apocalyptic world filled with radiation, biohazards, and these crazy mutated monsters all over the world that are truly out to get you. One of the best things, at least for me, that made me fall in love with Stalcraft is the fact that you can play in a party with up to 5 other people as you explore the world, hunt down for materials to craft your weapons and craft your gear. That is awesome. And even though we are very early into the game and they haven't really released the endgame content, we already have notion that they're going to be releasing new maps and new PvE activities like raids. Overall, there is so much to do with your friends that it doesn't ever get boring. It does get quite tedious, and I will tell you this, guys. If you've ever played a game like Dark Souls where they tell you prepare to die, think of Dark Souls as a tutorial. I played this game for 1 month. I averaged a little bit over 500 hours. And in those 500 hours, or my 1 month of playing, I have died over 1,000 times. Maybe I lack skill, or maybe the world is a little bit too vicious. Either way, I will tell you guys, prepare to die. The game is hard. It's very hard. There are so many things that as you play, you will find out are out to kill you. And the fun thing about it is that the very start of the map doesn't hold a bunch of the elements that you start unlocking as you progress, whether it's new weapons, new areas, or new dangers that are out to kill you. That is the simple world of Stalcraft, a massive first-person shooter MMORPG that combines survival elements, horror, PvPvE, crafting, and more. Overall, guys, this game is definitely worth the try because there are so many things to do. It's free, and you can play with friends. I haven't truly played an MMORPG in the past few years that is focused around shooting. It has such a massive world and so many things to do. Most games nowadays, at least for me, feel like they're just trying to be put out there. They're not trying to keep you in there. They just want to have your attention for a little bit and that's it. Stalcraft, on the other hand, they're in here for the long run. If you're looking for a game that you can sink tons and tons and tons of hours into and actually feel like you're doing progress and not just wasting your time, Stalcraft is truly that game. Now, let's talk about the actual PvP of the game, because there are multiple different types of PvP. First, we have your typical team deathmatch, capture the zones, all that good stuff, duels versus other players. But the one thing that I know some of you might love while others might really dislike, it's the fact that in the open world, there is open PvP. It is a PvPvE game, so you will be running around the world fighting monsters, gathering your mats, and you run into the chance that a player will come out and kill you. But there is a little catch that, for me at least, has made the biggest difference in the game. As opposed to games like Rust or DayZ or Tarkov, when you die you lose everything, in Stalcraft you do not lose your weapons, you do not lose your armor, you don't lose your gadgets, and you don't lose a lot of the items in your inventory that are locked on your character. What you will lose is things like farming materials, bullets, food, and that's about it really. And it does sound very basic, but those materials hurt when you lose them. Nonetheless, the simple fact that it's not a full inventory drop makes it amazing, because you can get on day after day and progress your weapons. Yes, weapons progress. You can build a very basic weapon, common rarity, and as you progress, you can level it up, evolve it, add attachments to it, and make it even better. For armors, there are so many different ways that you can go for armors. You can go for combat armor that is better for shootouts and for PvP. You can go for explorer armor that sets you up to explore the massive world. And you can go for scientist armor that allows you to step into the most dangerous hazards the game has to offer, whether it's lava pits, whether it's radioactive areas, or biohazard areas. Anything is able to be done if you build the right armor and the right weapon set. That's really it regarding the PvP. Regarding the PvE, guys, it's insane. There are so many different types of enemies, and as you progress, you will unlock more. There are some enemies that are quite basic, whether it's rats or dogs. And then there are other enemies like the Chimera or the Pseudo Giant that roam the north that are quite terrifying. Now, let's talk about how you fight these monsters, or what you do to combat the monsters. You can do many different things, but the idea of fighting these monsters is killing and clearing out the dens that will give you the materials. As you explore, you will see these red icons across the map that features camps filled with monsters. You will go up to these camps, clear out everybody, and get the loot. But the camps aren't the only place where you can run into monsters. There are wild monsters that sometimes just roam or break away from their dens, and you will be walking through the forest where there's supposed to be no enemies, and a bloodsucker will come out and grab you. Now, this for me is pretty cool, but the PvP doesn't just feature these dens. There are story missions with bosses, and these bosses sometimes are quite a pain. Trust me, when you fight Mistral, come back to this video and let me know in the comments section. Overall, there are bosses, open world enemies, roaming enemies, and they get crazier and crazier as you progress through the game. Like I mentioned earlier, the developers have talked about adding 2 new areas which will feature harder difficulty and more enemies, as well as PvE dungeons, which we currently don't have in the game because they are endgame. But the PvE dungeons will feature a squad feature where you will go in with multiple people to take down a boss. Pretty dope stuff. They will also reward unique items and things of the sort. There is insane amount of loot to be gotten in this game, whether it's crafted loot or loot that you get from side quests. Yes, there are missions in this game that will give you full out weapons and armor. So it's worth to explore and do the insane amount of missions that the game has to offer. While some might be pretty trash, others are pretty good. That's really everything that I have to say at the moment regarding the game. It is insanely good, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments section. Join my Discord. I go live with this game every day and I am loving it. If you want to know, I am a stalker. The game is broken into 2 different factions that later have their own sub-factions, but we'll get more into that in another video. The point is, when you get into the game, you do your tutorial, you will be given the option to join one of 2 factions, the Bandits or the Stalkers. I play as a Stalker. You guys pick what you want. But that's really going to be it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, join our Discord, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.